Hello and welcome to Chapter 5, Section 5. This is graphing linear functions. We just learned how to write rules. We can write rules based on all kinds of things now. We can find rules based on sequences. So now we need to be able to graph them. So, linear, the word linear means line. They make a line. So a linear equation is an equation where the answers for x and y make a line. So our job is to learn how to graph the linear function. Now that we have rules and we can work with our rules, we're going to work with the rule 2x plus 1. So here we've got our function table with our rule 2x plus 1. So we're going to come up with our x's. We want our x's to be right around here because this is where we're graphing. So we're going to pick the 2, 1, 0. 2 times x minus 1. We need to fill out the rest of our function table. And in looking at this, it makes it a lot easier to figure out what our y's are. 2 times 2 is 4 and 1 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2 and 1 is 3. 2 times 0 is 0 and 1 is 1. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. So now we know our x and y, and it's really just write down the x, comma, write down the y in parentheses. Now we get to graph them. Our first point is 2, 5. 1, 2 over, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. Puts the first one right there. 1 and 3 is here. 0 and 1 is here. Negative 1 and negative 1 is here. Negative 2 and negative 3 is here. Now as you can see, if I get out my magic ruler, that this makes a straight line. So this is a linear function because the points that it gives us makes a line. And we can stick absolutely any number in for x, and the y that it gives us will be on this line. That's what a linear function is. It can be a decimal, it can be a fraction, it can be a negative, a positive number, it doesn't matter. If we put in any x, the y it gives us will be on this line. That's the beauty of a linear function. Now, what does this look like in a word problem? The word problem is going to walk us through, there's going to be a change, and it's going to be a regular change, and we have to find that regular change and be able to write that down as a rule. So it's everything that we have learned before that we already know how to do. We just need to be able to translate it into words now. So, for every degree Celsius, the Fahrenheit scale goes up 1.8 degrees. And it starts at 0 degrees Celsius, and that's 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not starting at 0, so there's going to be a plus or a minus there. Write a linear function that describes the relationship. Now, we're going to look for two things. The two things are, how does it change and where does it start? How does it change is the regular addition that we have to do that gives us the number in front of n, the number that we multiply by. Where does it start gives us the plus or the minus at the end. Now this starts at 32, so this is going to be plus 32. And it changes, it goes up, positive number, 1.8 degrees. That's our regular change. So it's telling us that every time it changes, it's plus 1.8. And it starts at 32. So if we had n's and y's, and 0 is 32, so we're not going to do 0. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So we're going to start at 0. We're going to go 1.8, 3.6, 4, 5.4, 6, 7.2, and on and on and on. And every time we add 1.8. So we know that our function is 1.8n, because that's our repeated addition plus 32. That's our linear function. So we've kind of, before we started with the number pattern, and we had to figure out the addition, here they told us the addition, and we had to figure out the number pattern. Okay? So, your turn. The temperature of a liquid increases 3 degrees Celsius per hour. Joe started measuring at 40 degrees Celsius. So your turn, your job is to tell me how does it change, because that's going to be the number before n, and where does it start, and that's going to be your plus or minus. So push pause and see if you can come up with the linear function for this word problem. Okay? So it increases 3 degrees per hour. That's going to be our 3n. And he started measuring at 40 degrees Celsius. This is our linear function. Being able to tell the different parts of the problem is all you're doing here because you know how to do the math. Okay? So, here's your practice. The temperature of a liquid is decreasing by 12 degrees Celsius per hour. Susan begins measuring at 200 degrees Celsius. Write a linear function describing the change in temperature and graph what will the temperature be in 5 hours when n equals 5. So, not only are you going to have to come up with the function, you're also going to have to create a data table all the way through 5 to come up with 5 different points to be able to graph this. Draw a graph, make your table, and predict what, when n is 5, what your y will be. Your second problem is to fill out and graph this function table, where the function is 2x plus 3. Here you're given x's. Come up with your points and be able to graph that. Show me the graph. Okay? That's what I'll be looking for tomorrow. So, if you don't understand any of the points, please go back, rewind, and look at it again, because these should be right off of what we've just talked about. Okay? Good luck, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.